Hi, I'm Mike King from Back to Bikes, and in this session we're going to talk about working on a bike and choosing a bike stand so that you can work comfortably and safely. So we're going to look at the different kinds of stands that you can use. This one is a wall mount, where basically you can clamp the bike and it can rotate, so you can clamp on the top tube or the side tube, and it clamps and holds safely. This is my preferred solution for working on a bike. You may not have the space to be able to do this, so there are other options. This is a very simple wall-mounted hanger where you can hang the bike, you mount it to the wall with some Dynabolts, and then you can hang the bike in there, and you can wrap an old inner tube around that to hold the bike in and make sure it doesn't fall off. It's important that the bike is up and at a level that you can be comfortable, so you can stand and work on the bike and you can use your hands, you're balanced nicely. If you have the bike in front of you and you have to bend over it, you're going to get a very sore back, and then you're going to drop things and they'll always fall on the wrong side of the bike. So really, if you can stand and be comfortable, then you can work for a longer period and you won't hurt yourself. There are mobile stands. They're collapsible, so you can tuck them in your workshop under the bench, and they're very good because you can just pop them up. You can take them with you if you go mountain biking and you might need to do some repairs. You throw them in the car, they open up, they clamp the bike in a very similar way, and you'll notice on the Tour de France that the teams actually use those kinds of stands. There's a version of this, and in fact this one will mount on a bench as well. It has the fitting underneath, so you can actually screw it to a bench. Or you can actually turn the bike upside down if you like. I really don't like that approach because the bike isn't very stable. Or you can lean it against a wall, which is again not great. There are also options where you can buy a hoist kind of arrangement where you've got some ropes and a couple of hooks that hook under here and here, and they will lift the bike up. The problem is that the bike tends to sway around on that, and they're a little bit flimsy. So it's a good idea to give the bike a clean, get all the mucky bits off it. Rags and a squirty bottle, you can buy these things from the bike shop, or you can just use washing up liquid. Squirt onto the rag itself and then give the bike a wipe, just all over. And particularly in these greasy areas around the gears, it's a good idea to clean and get all that muck off. You can clean the wheel rims because this will give you grindy brakes. Any grit there will wear that braking surface, so it's a good idea to give that a thorough clean. You can use a bucket if you want, fill it with hot soapy water and just take the rag in and out. So we're going to oil the bike now. This is the oil that we use. It's just a general purpose light oil, either a sewing machine oil or stuff that you can buy in the hardware store. You can buy specific bike oils. They're a little bit more expensive from a bike shop. And generally, if you're oiling your chain, you should use a heavier grade. But for general purpose oiling of the bolts, then this light oil is adequate. It's a good strategy to oil the bikes, and I encourage everybody in here, this is the first thing that they should do when they're servicing the bike. So first of all, give it a clean, get all the dirt off, and then move on to oiling all of the moving parts. So anywhere where there's a bolt and a thread, it's a good idea to drop a little bit of oil onto it. And the benefit of that is when you come to undo it, it's going to be nice and loose. So we oiled the moving parts on the brakes, but the one thing you don't do is the brake blocks themselves. And don't oil this particular bolt there because that oil will tend to run onto the brake shoe itself. If you've got disc brakes on your bike, you need to be really careful about not introducing oil because the disc brake pads are porous and they will soak up the oil and they will squeal. These rubber brakes are actually okay. They will tolerate oil and you can wash them off again, so it's not the end of the world. So work your way around the bike, oiling every piece, every moving part, every bolt, on the derailleur, on the skewers, the front derailleur. You can oil these bolts as well. You can do the frame bolts. They should have bolts in those. And then these points here where the cables come through, just drop a little bit of oil on, move on to the headset, put a bit of oil here, on the brake pivots themselves. So you can put a bit of oil here and here. On the ends of the cables, these barrel adjusters, on the pivots on the brakes themselves, and then on your skewers at the front, you can drop a bit of oil on either side. and that will pay you back when you come to undo everything. It will all come off nicely. So if you go to a bike shop and they do what they call a full service on your bike, they will clean and re-grease your wheel bearing, your bottom bracket, and also your front wheel bearing as well. So they'll do those 3 bearings. They will then re-grease the headset. They will adjust your brakes. They will check the brake shoes to make sure that they're not worn. They'll make sure they're lined up with the rim. They will clean your chain. They will clean the chain itself, the cogs at the back and the cogs at the front. They will clean the derailleur. They will clean the jockey wheels as well. They will also check your saddle, your grips, cables. You don't necessarily have to do the full service every time you work on your bike, and if you work on your own bike, then it generally makes sense that you would do one thing at a time. So you might notice that your brakes have been squeaking or they haven't been stopping properly, and you say, right, today I'm going to focus on brakes. And that's another session where we'll go through the details of what is involved in doing brakes, and we'll have another session on chain cleaning and gear adjustment as well. All right, so we're ready to go now. We've got the bike comfortably in its work stand in a place where it's good to work on. We've done a clean of the bike and we've done an oil. So we're now ready to actually start working on it and do a really great job.